Okay, welcome back. Now, adding a button was easy. You just say, hey man, I want a button. But that doesn't make it work. To make it work, I mean, this doesn't do anything, right? To make it work, there's two things you have to do. Okay, you guys are paying attention, right? There's two things you need to do. One is you have to write a thing called an event handler. And then second, you need to tell that button should listen to a particular type of event. Not all events are listened to. Some of them are ignored. So we need to do two things. We need to write an event handler. So let's do that. You do that with what's called an inner class. So I'm going to create me a class. There's nothing really special about inner class. Inner class is just a class that's built inside another class. In other words, I'm not putting the cursor here at below that curly brace. I'm putting it above that curly brace. Okay? That kind of sort of makes sense? Cool. So I'm going to create me an event handler. Now the thing is, I need to create an entire class, and the class has to inherit from this thing called event handler. So we're going to do that. All right. So I can call this thing anything I want, right? I mean, it doesn't even matter what the class name is. I'm just going to say class. I tend to keep these things kind of simple, like on button, something like that. Okay? So this is my class, and it extends a particular type thing called an event handler. And then it has a particular type that goes with it called action event. In other words, of all of the events, which ones do I really care about? Well, I care about the action event. Okay, so I've created me, well, of course I got red squigglies, of course. So action, and then I need another red squiggly for the event handler, and it should complain saying, hey man, you haven't implemented everything. It's like, okay, give me a break, dude. Good grief. I need to create an override inside here for a method called handle. So here I am, I'm going to say app override. And so I'll create me a normal, public void handle. Has to be called handle. And it gets passed an action event. I'm just going to use E as the name of this guy. Okay. Whoops, where's my last curly brace? Okie dokie. That still doesn't like that. Oh, ha ha ha, not extends, implements. It's an interface. Implements. Sorry about that. Okay. It implements an interface. Sorry. Okay. So this on button, or whatever you want to call it, is going to implement an event handler. And then I need to override a handles thing. Okay, so here's where you would actually have it do something. So I'm going to make a pop-up box. Now, you guys may remember way back when, like in Chapter 2, they were using J-option pane. Well, I'm going to use the more modern Java FX version of that called alert. So alert, I don't know, message is equal to new alert, and then I have to give it an alert type. But of course, I'm just going to go ahead and wait for the red squigglies to pop up, so I can make those guys go away. Cool. And there's all different types of alerts. This is just going to be an information one, but there's different ones. One's for errors, one's for warning, one's for confirmation, like a yes, no. And this is all I want. It's just the information. And then I'm going to say message, and then there's a set content, and where I'm going to say something like, you press the button. Okay, so am I done? Am I ready? Let's try it, see if it makes any difference whatsoever. Because I built me an event handler to handle the on act. It still doesn't work. What the heck's going on? Well, remember I said there was two things you had to do, right? All right, one of them is to write an inner class that contains the event handler. And then the second one is I need to tell the button to listen for that event. Okay? Okay, cool. So I'm going to go up here to my button guy, this bn submit, and say I want to set the on action event. Okay, on action. Okay, and then I want to tell it that I want to go to my event handler that I just created. So I need to create an instance of this class. So I'm just going to say new on button, like that, right? Because I'm creating a new instance of it. This is, okay, so now I've written the event handler that says, okay, whenever you hear listen for this event, and when you see it, pop open a box. I forgot something here. Let's do show and wait. Okay, so now let's try it and see what it does. Well, this is taking a little longer than usual. Oh, I clicked it twice. Okay, so, yeah, I actually have two of them running. I apologize. Let me just close one of them. So I hit submit, and it pops up and says, you press the button. Hooray! All right, so in summary, there's two things you have to do. You have to write an event handler, a class that handles the event, that implements the event handler interface, which requires me to have a handle method. Cool. And then I have to go tell it, oh, by the way, I want you to listen for the on action event. And when you see it, I want you to do whatever the heck it says to do in the event handler. That kind of sort of makes sense? Okay, cool. So let's talk about how you would do input validation in this world, because this world is different than some of the previous worlds. So let's say, for example, our on action guy is going to read those text files. I mean, the text fields. Okay. So I'm going to do the age one because that one's kind of the most important one. So instead of having all this, what I'm going to just comment that guy out. And so we're going to do input validation. Okay. So there's three things that could go, three tests that you would do. The first one is the field blank? Okay, that would be a good test. So basically I say if TF age, and then go ahead and, I say TF, but that's not what I type. Oh, come on. Oh. Yeah, this is a funky thing. This is inside this event handler, right? Inside this event handler. And so if I'm going to be talking to TF age, and TF age got built right here, right? That's where TF age got built. Look at the scope. I'm going to have to move TF age up here somewhere so it has a higher scope, because I can't talk to TF age here. Okay. All right. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to just grab this part, go up to here, and put it up. And then this one is just going to be just talking directly to TFH. Now I have the right scope where I can talk to it inside here. Cool. So if TF age, and then I just say, what the text is, right? The get text. And then I just say is blank. Cool. So if it's blank, then I'm not going to do it all, but throw a message, have an alert box that comes up and says, no, can't be, can't be blank, some sort of an alert. Alert, yeah. Can't be blank. Okay. The next one you would do to see is if it converts, right? So we've done this before. This is going to have a try block, right? We're going to need a try block. And inside the try block, I'm going to go ahead and make the red squiggly go this way. So I'm going to go ahead and do a catch. And exception, I'm going to use the polymorphic one because, quite frankly, I don't really care. Hey, have you guys figured out that I always use EX as the name of the exception? Have you ever seen that? Because there's already something called E up here. Ooh, almost like I planned that. Okay. All right, so here you throw some sort of an exception that says, you know, some sort of an alert that says, hey, can't convert. You know. Right? So you know how this part works, right? Here we go. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, you know, integer age is equal to integer parse int. Right? This is nothing new, and this is going to be tf age get text. Okay, makes sense. So that'll blow this one, and then you have to go do the range thing, right? We know how to do this. So if age is, you know, less than 0, or age is greater than 140, typically I would do these with constants, but for right now I'm just trying to speed things up. And so here you would throw in another some sort of an alert that says, you know, bad range. Okay, so that's essentially how you do input validation in this world. Now, to tell you the truth, popping up alert messages are that's very intrusive. I mean, it bam hits you in the head, so to speak. And most people don't like to have a pop-up message when there's an error. So it basically better be a good error, you know, a worthy error. I'm going to do just one of them. I'm not going to type them all. But I'll do the one for is blank. Well, if I can get going here. I'm going to go ahead and make this one a little prettier too. There's a couple things you can do to make these guys a little bit more better. Okay, so I'm going to uncomment this guy. And so now instead of being information, whoops, uncomment that guy too. It's going to be an error because this is the type. Come on. Okay, and then I could do some more things. I could put a title in here and maybe a few other little odds and ends. So let's do a couple of things. I mean, let's go in here and after I've created my alert, let's go ahead and say something like message set title. And the title is going to be, I don't know, something simple like error. Okay. There's another one called a header, which I don't particularly like, so I'm going to make the header go away. Set header text. And I'm just going to say null to make that go away. And then what the error message is, which would be something along the lines of, you know, this can't be blank. You know, the age field cannot be blank. Okay, let's go try this and see if it works. All right. So I'm going to deliberately leave the age blank. I'm going to hit the button and it's going to come up and say, hey man, the age cannot be blank. Otherwise I type in, you know, 42 and then it's going to say, okay, I'm happy with that. Cool. Okay, we're coming up on the 15-minute mark, but did you see how I did this? Now, I'll confess, I probably should have an alert message for all three of the conditions, you know, the blank one, the range one, and the convert one, but I'm not going to waste your time doing that while you're watching the video because it'd be nothing more than just copying and pasting. That makes sense? Okay, we've reached the 15-minute mark.